We have 3 more sandbag exercises you should consider working into your routine. First off, we have a single arm front rack squat. Second one off, we're going to work into an overhead press, 2 phases. The sandbag, it's an unstable object. The center of gravity is going to change, the fill bags are going to move. Can we work in a pause? Can we move slowly with this piece of equipment? So we're going to work into that. I'll show you what that looks like. Then we're going to move back into another asymmetrical load with a kickstand, suitcase, Romanian deadlift. So we'll start things off. We've got that single arm front rack squat. So go through our handle positions again. This is your first time with us in through here. Handle set number 1 here, be across with the white line athletics logo. Number 2 will be on either side here. Number 3 will be on the back. We won't be using 4 today, but 4 will be over here on either end here. So, what's good about getting into these positions, we can kind of test off what our range of motion is for a squat. If we have trouble getting into this position where we're going to be off on the ground through here, we can elevate it off any sort of a box, platform, anything that can help support the weight of our sandbag in through here. So I'm going to show you what handle set number 1 looks like. I'll slip through handle set number 1 here. Pull it nice and tight to the torso, around 45 degrees. You can use the handle or just the other arm, but I'm going to be using my free arm here to help push that sandbag outside of my elbow there, on the other side of my shoulder. When I come up, and push the elbows out into the thighs there to help support. Back's nice and straight. There you have handle set number 1. As you can see, it runs the length of my forearm. This will be the most stable of my positions. Handle set number 2. Run across on either side of my forearm in through here. As you can see, this will be second most challenging. It's going to be a lot of rotation. Handle set number 3. Be running down and in around a 45-degree angle. This one you really have to focus on pulling that sandbag around to the other side of the body and through here. You're going to try to run down and in. Try to open up the body there. For our purposes today, I'm going to be using handle set number 2. We'll get into our reps. Single arm front rack squat. Nice strong free arm. Tuck it into the side. Get into that comfortable squat position. There you have the single arm front rack squat. Play around with those different handle positions. Feel free to take any weight out of the sandbag as you need to. Really focus on drawing that arm in nice and tight to the torso with that sandbag, keeping that nice, strong, active free hand. With anything asymmetrically loaded too, you want to watch that the shoulders and the hips are going to remain nice and square, nice and stable. Next exercise I mentioned, playing around with a bit more of that tempo, the speed of the exercise. We're going to work in a bit of a pause. I'll show you first without the sandbag. You're going to be standing nice and tall, legs are engaged, glutes are engaged. I have my sandbag up here in the front rack position. We're going to be pressing up. We're going to stop here. Elbows will be at 90 degrees. Watch that they're not going to flare out. Shoulders aren't going to roll forward. You keep them in back. We're going to pause here for a second. Climb back up, follow through, nice and tall. You can pull it right back down into that front rack position. So the pause is only going to happen from that initial press from that front rack. 90, fall through, and all the way down. I'll show you what that looks like here in the sandbag. And we'll get into our reps. The sandbag will start on the feet, using handle set number 3. Pull on the handles, get a bit of that tension off, hinge back. Come up to that clean. Pump before. Fall through. Pull that sandbag back down to that front rack. The legs include engaged. Pull it back down with control. Place a ton of demands by pausing in that position there at 90 degrees. Really try and focus on keeping those shoulders pinned back. Try not to let that weight of that sandbag pull me down. So you can play around with the pause, work in a few more seconds of it, play around with that, see how that works out. Really great dynamic exercise. The last one we're going to be moving into here is a kickstand from the suitcase, Romanian deadlift. The suitcase I'll be using handle set number 2 in through here. Just a bit of a differentiation between kickstand and split stance or split squat type position. If I'm in maybe more of a split squat, split stance, if I'm doing a row, sometimes people are doing a deadlift or that from this position too. Feet are a little bit wider. You're still bridging on the toes, but when I say kickstand, I'll show you with my inside foot here so you can see it a little bit easier. I'm going to be bridged up at the ankle and through here. So I have a lot more narrow of a base of support. One of the keys will be here through this one so I stay high, bridged on that trail leg, on my toes. That's what's going to help keep my hips aligned. You can play around, again as I mentioned at the top, with the offset. So I can load my trail leg. That'll be harder if I'm going to be doing the suitcase deadlift with my right arm in through here. So keep that active. Left arm still pinching back and forward. You're staying bridged nice and high on those toes. If I were to drop down, you'll see that hip. That right hip's going to drop down with it. So you have to watch these stay nice and tall on those toes. And loading that lead leg will be a little bit easier. We'll load off on the trail leg. Show you what that looks like. So we'll be set up. Just to show you that stance again before I tuck back in. Right in line with that ankle in through there. Normal shoulder width apart. You want to have that handle set 2 up and aligned with that ankle in through there. Hinge back. There might be more of a knee bend in with this hinge just because the sandbag is starting off on the ground. Whatever's going to help to lower down and reach that handle. If you bend the knees a little bit more, that's totally fine. Make sure you have that grip locked in. Reset, bridge on the toes. By loading that trail leg, I have to fight with the rotation with that sandbag. The sandbag's going to knock into that back leg. It's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable. I have to focus on keeping that a little bit more engaged, as opposed to if I was going to load that lead leg. It's going to be a little bit more comfortable. More of my weight's going to be supported on my right side as I'm hinging back on my right side. That's going to be a little bit easier to maintain. So try this one off first. See how it works out for you before loading that trail side leg. So to sum up, we have those 3 exercises in through there. We finished off with that kickstand RDL style in with the suitcase. Super versatile movement. It really helps. It's a good bit of a precursor before moving into more of a single leg type RDL, because more of that weight's going to be supported on that lead leg, but still change the distribution. Then we worked in a bit of that 2-phase overhead press. So talking about working in that pause. We're just playing around with any sort of tempo by moving with something, an object that may be a little bit larger, a little more unstable than we're used to. And then to start things off, we worked in that front rack squat. Different handle positions can challenge you in different ways. You find one is easier than the other. Play around with those different handle sets in order to challenge yourself a little bit more. Thanks for joining us, and hope to see you again. Stay tuned, we got more coming for you.